detective, can you tell us what is depicted in State's Exhibit 22?
So to the left, top left here, we have defendant Rashad Murphy's booking photograph from Gwinnett County. Below that, what we detailed there was that there was an extensive search done of the Silver Cruise license plate as it hit readers in Georgia, and on 2 occasions we found that the Silver Cruise was traveling in tandem with a 2014 black Chrysler 300, and that Chrysler 300 was registered to Noah Williams, who goes by the rapper named Spinna Benz. He and another rapper released a song after Foolio's dead that was titled Foolio Dead.
And Spinna Benz, he's a known gang member of 1200, is that correct?
Yes, he's documented as having associations or membership. I can't remember which one, associated or member, but he has some documentation with the 1200 Street gang out of Jacksonville.
You shot straight, but you shot late. Hi, Lim. This is the Rundown Podcast.
I'm gonna give you the rundown.
Say man, hey man, it's OG Jucario. Now I'm back at you with another one. And the case for Julio Foolio, this murder trial, has already been laid out for us, really, because if you paid close attention to a couple of weeks back, they aired all the evidence out during the court hearing, the evidence hearing for Davion Murphy, one of the last suspects that were caught. He was on a run for 6 months after the murder of Charles Jones, aka Foolio, right? And now with this court hearing, they expose all of the evidence and all of the things that they're trying to, basically say that Davion had to do with the murder of Julio Foolio. And in this court hearing, they exposed everything that they have so far. And this segment right here is going to show how, the state, right, is putting together or have put together with the evidence that this 1200 gang member, Davion Murphy, and his cousin, Rashad Murphy, all right? These two 1200 gang members were in contact with other 1200 gang members, right, and rappers there in Jacksonville. Spinna Benz, who's documented as Noah Williams in the paperwork, and J. Breezy, who's documented as Jucario Rivers in the court documents. So at this point, it looks like the state has presented all the evidence against these suspects. Davion and Sean Gathright and Isaiah Chance, Alicia Andrews, okay? And Rashad Murphy, last but not least, because Rashad Murphy was caught out there in Gwinnett County after the murder of Foolio, right? 3 days later, okay? So obviously, Rashad Murphy, after he committed the crime of being involved in the shooting and the murder of Foolio in Tampa, Florida, he fled that crime scene, headed to Gwinnett County out there in Georgia, where he was apprehended, okay, after a license plate reader, right, hit the tag on that Chevy Cruise that was involved in the murder of Foolio, right, way out here in Georgia. Okay, so when the authorities came to check on that Chevy Cruise that was involved in this murder, guess what? Rashad Murphy was pulled over in that Chevy Cruise, right, where he took off running from the authorities. Cell phone was left behind and things of that nature. And that's how the authorities, got a hold to a lot of information, because Miss Stinger's phone, right, this happens to be Rashad Murphy's baby mother, right? She was back at that hotel waiting on Rashad to return back, where he had that GPS still on in the car when he was pulled over and he took off running, right? Bailed out of there, but he got caught, of course, locked up there in Gwinnett County. And that's when they start putting all the pieces together, because, they found pictures in that phone, in that iPhone, of rifles, okay, guns, possibly could have been used in the Foolio murder, okay? And they also matched up clothing that Rashad Murphy had on, and he also went to a Walmart with the same clothes on, you guys, that he could have possibly used in the Foolio murder. And he also had on all black in the Walmart, just as seen on the video surveillance there at the Home 2 Suites where the shooting occurred at. And he had on some black boots that matched one of the suspects. Well, him as the suspect is what they're alleging, okay? And, you know, this right here is very, very stupid, you guys. And why was he in Georgia 3 days after being in Tampa committing a murder, right? The detectives are saying on 2 different occasions that they have these 2 different vehicles, one that was involved in the Foolio murder, right? The silver Chevy Cruze that Rashad Murphy was driving, and a black Chrysler 300 that belonged to Spinner Benz, court documented as Noah Williams. They're saying this black Chrysler 300 also, on 2 different occasions, both of these cars were traveling on the freeway where license plate readers read those cars. And so this is telling us, right, after the murder of Julio, you have 1200 gang member Rashad Murphy, who was involved in the shooting, right, headed out to Georgia where some of the 1200 gang members obviously live at. And why were, you know, these guys meeting up? Well, many people are saying this is where, you know, they got paid, right? This is where the money came in. Or maybe possibly they could have been hiding out or trying to hide out, you know, with these other gang members. But as of this point, people are, you know, speculating, because now you have another instance where they're saying that Jucario Rivers, okay, which happens to be J. Breezy, he sends the same alleged killers of Julio, right, a cash app. And this happens to be the one, Isaiah Chance, who received that cash app. But Rashad Murphy made the reservation for the Airbnb, but didn't pay for it. Just only made the reservation, which left Isaiah Chance to receive this cash app for the Airbnb, right, to pay for it in some type of way, okay, from Jucario Rivers, J. Breezy, another rapper, another 1200 member, op of Foolio, right? So it's not looking good at all, because now the state is saying, you know, this is the evidence that we have, you know, these gang members are, you know, meeting up with each other after the murder of Julio, you know, all the way from Tampa, all the way over here to Georgia, okay, where one of them gets caught, okay, in the same vehicle that was used in the shooting. Now that's crazy, you guys. So this is some of the evidence that they have against Rashad Murphy, you know, along with other damning, incriminating evidence as well, okay, that they're going to be using against all these suspects in this Julio Foolio murder trial.
Was there a bolo that was also put out for the silver Chevy Cruze?
Correct.
And did it, at some point during the course of your investigation, were you alerted by authorities in Georgia that the silver Cruze had been found?
Correct. The Gwinnett County Police Department, just outside of northeast Atlanta, they called me to tell me they found the silver Cruze.
And when did that occur?
Early morning hours of 6/26.
And what were the circumstances of them coming into contact with the silver Chevy Cruze?
A license plate reader equipped on a tow truck picked up the tag and set off the bolo. So their computers are alerted that this wanted vehicle was in their area. They responded to the parking lot. It was a hotel parking lot. By the time they got there, the vehicle was gone. So they made contact with the clerk. The clerk told them that he knew the vehicle they were referencing and provided the ID of a woman who came out of that vehicle who rented a room there. And the clerk told the police there that the woman was still in the room, but she was traveling with a male in that car, and that male had left in the car by himself. So they parked across the street, waited for the male to come back. The male did come back, and as he was pulling into the parking lot, they took it down to seize that vehicle.
Okay. And was the woman later identified as Charmaine Steiger?
Correct. How
is she related, or how does she know Rashad Murphy, another co-defendant in this case?
So Rashad Murphy, she has 4 children in common with Rashad Murphy. They've been together for over 13 years.
And the individual who was driving in the silver Chevy Cruze, who was that individual?
He was identified as co-defendant Rashad Murphy.
And were you alerted by law enforcement, or did law enforcement officers relate to you the circumstances of how he was taken into custody and when that occurred?
Yes, they moved in to try to seize the vehicle, and when they activated their lights, Mr. Murphy jumped out of the driver's seat and ignored their commands and began running, and he had to be chased and physically subdued into custody.
And on what day did that occur?
6/26.
6/26, so a few days after the homicide, is that correct?
Correct.
And was there a search warrant that was conducted on that silver Chevy Cruze?
Correct.
Were there contents that were found in the vehicle?
There was an iPhone with a pink case found in that vehicle.
I'm going to show you states 21A through C. Do you recognize these photographs?
I do.
And are these photographs fair and accurate photographs of Rashad Murphy, as well as the silver Chevy Cruze and some contents that were found within that vehicle?
Correct.
And at this time, we'd introduce into evidence states 21A through C.
Any objection? Okay, admitted.
Can you tell us what 21A is, sir?
Yeah, 21A is co-defendant Rashad Murphy. He's in the back seat of a Gwinnett County Police Department officer's car after he was taken into custody. He's wearing light blue jeans that have horizontal strips on both legs from mid-thigh down to the ankles, and a black Jacksonville Jaguars polo or jacket there, or some kind of shirt. And then 21B is a picture of the damage on the suspect silver Cruze that we were able to match to the footage from the Tesla at the homicide scene, and we were also able to match to license plate reader photos that showed that angle of the car. And then 21C was a photograph of Charmaine Steiger's ID that she had accidentally left with the front clerk. So when the front clerk was apprising the police department of the situation with that vehicle, they handed that license to the officer.
There was a iPhone that was found in the vehicle, the same vehicle that Rashad Murphy was in, is that correct?
Correct. As he was pulling into the parking lot in the vehicle, there was a pink iPhone, or an iPhone with a pink case that was attached to a mount in his center dash area that was open with GPS directions back to the hotel.
Was there also an interview that was conducted with Charmaine Steiger as to who that phone belongs to?
Correct. She was interviewed, and she related that that phone is her phone. However, that Rashad Murphy doesn't have his own phone, and that they share that phone in common, and then he has been known to leave and use the phone on his own, as they basically co-own it and co-share it, which was obviously verified by the fact that Mr. Murphy, Rashad Murphy, was driving around and coming back to the hotel, and he was using that phone for GPS.
Was there additional license plate readers that were obtained of the silver Chevy Cruze from the Georgia authorities?
Yes, prior to its capture, the silver Cruze hit in Georgia numerous times on their license plate readers, and their detectives shared those hits with me.
Okay, and is that what is compiled in State's Exhibit number 22?
A couple of them, yes.
Your Honor, at this time we'd introduce into evidence State's Exhibit number 22.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, be admitted.
Detective, can you tell us what is depicted in State's Exhibit 22?
So to the left, top left here, we have defendant Rashad Murphy's booking photograph from Gwinnett County. Below that, what we detailed there was that there was an extensive search done of the silver Cruze license plate as it hit readers in Georgia, and on two occasions we found that the silver Cruze was traveling in tandem with a 2014 black Chrysler 300, and that Chrysler 300 was registered to Noah Williams, who goes by the rapper named Spinna Benz. He and another rapper released a song after Foolio's dead that was titled Foolio Dead.
And Spinna Benz, he's a known gang member of 1200, is that correct?
Yes, he's documented as having associations or membership. I can't remember which one, associated or member, but he has some documentation with the 1200 Street gang out of Jacksonville.
That shared cell phone belonging to Rashad Murphy and Charmaine Steiger, was there a search warrant that was done to search that phone?
Yes, there was.
And was there a download that was done, and did you go through the contents of that shared phone of Rashad Murphy and Charmaine Steiger?
Yes, the phone was physically damaged, so the traditional download did not work. A detective had to manually review what we could recover from it, and that manual review was done, and we extracted what was relevant to our investigation.
I'm going to ask you to look at 23A through G. Can you take a look? Are those images that were recovered from the download of Ms. Steiger's phone and the shared phone also of Rashad Murphy?
Correct.
And at this time, we'd introduce into evidence 23A through F.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, admitted.
Can you tell us what's 23A?
Yes, so this is a photo that was taken with Charmaine and Rashad's phone on June 18th at approximately 1:29 p.m. And in this photo, what we can see is someone is holding the driver's license that belongs to defendant Davion Murphy. And in the background, we see, I think, a Volkswagen logo on a steering wheel. So that was relevant because it was this first time that we saw Davion's Murphy's name connected to this case.
23B.
On June 19th, so a day after that photo of Davion Murphy's license was taken, this is a screenshot of a social media post depicting a homicide scene in Jacksonville while ATK's Yungeen Ace's song is playing in the background.
23C.
This is a picture taken on June 20th at approximately 11:02 p.m. So this is just approximately 2.5 days before the murder. We see a picture of two rifles, one in whole view and then one off to the left, the pistol grip, the magazine, and the buffer tube.
23D and E, and then what's already in evidence as well, 14A. Is that a still photo of the video?
So this is, yes, so 14A off to the right there, that's a still photograph taken from the Tesla camera from the homicide scene. And then 23D is a photograph that was taken on June 22nd before the murder, and it depicts the legs of an individual wearing black pants and the black military-styled boots. And on the floor we see a black trash bag, or shopping bag that contains some cartons of 305 cigarettes, a Straight Talk TLC Ion, what we would call a burner phone, and a charger. And what we were able to determine from this photo is that the legs or the boots had a very similar appearance to the ones of the pistol shooter at the scene.
Okay. And 14A, that's from State's Exhibit 14, the video from the homicide scene in Tampa. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that specific shot is from the Tesla that was parked at the Homestead Suites at the time of the homicide.
During the course of your investigation, did you learn or ascertain where the suspects stayed while they were in Tampa?
Yeah, so from this phone extract, we saw a screenshot that was from the Airbnb app confirming that Rashad Murphy had rented an Airbnb in Tampa. We were able to identify that Airbnb. The Airbnb was rented through the period of June 22nd to June 24th. And we located the Airbnb and were able to obtain Ring camera footage from the front door of that Airbnb.
Okay. Did you conduct an interview with the Airbnb owner?
Correct.
Was there you said that there was a Ring camera at the front door, is that correct?
Correct.
Is there more than one way to enter that Airbnb?
Yeah, so that Airbnb has two ways in, the front door and the back door. The back door is just a double glass sliding door that locks from the inside. The owner told me that in between every rental, a cleaner comes in and cleans the house, and that ensures the back door is locked. So the primary way in for a renter is through the front door.
Okay. But the back door is not covered with a camera, is that correct?
The back door does not have a camera on it.
And we got to the the Airbnb based on the download of Charmaine Steiger's phone, is that correct?
Yes, there was a screenshot of an Airbnb confirmation message, and ultimately a subpoena was issued to Airbnb, and they did confirm that rental here in Tampa during the time period, and that it was rented under Rashad Murphy's name. The message requested that the renter provide a photograph of his driver's license as required by the HOA rules, and this same phone we extracted a photograph taken almost immediately after that message was sent of Rashad Murphy's ID.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 24. Did you obtain the video footage from the Airbnb Ring camera for the front door of the Airbnb?
I did.
What were the dates that the Airbnb was booked for Tampa using Rashad Murphy's ID?
6/22 to 6/24.
And the video, State's Exhibit number 24, is that a fair and accurate depiction of the video footage obtained from the Airbnb in Tampa?
Correct.
Your Honor, at this time we'd introduce into evidence State's Exhibit 24.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, admitted.
What is the address of the Airbnb in Tampa?
You put me on the spot here. 3703 Gazebo Pond Lane, but I'm not 100% about that. It's Gazebo Pond Lane, 3700 Rock.
Located here in Hillsborough County?
It is.
Approximately how far is this Airbnb from Teasers and Truth 18 and USF?
Bird's eye view, it's 1.3 miles approximately.
Sorry, I guess I didn't show you. Did I show you 23?
You didn't show it to me, but I talked about
You
it.
testified. This
Yeah.
is the Airbnb message, is that correct, where he utilized his ID to book it, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
State Exhibit 24. It shows, what's the date and time stamp on this?
So this timestamp was verified to be accurate. It is 6/22 Saturday, so before the murder, at 7:55 p.m.
And do you recognize the person in this, the timestamp 6/22/2024 of 1953 hours?
Yes, this is defendant Alicia Andrews. So when they arrived on 6/22, only defendant Alicia Andrews came to the front door and goes in through the front door, and there are no other activations of the ring camera till the following day at 2:09 p.m. We see defendant Isaiah Chance come out. So this is now the following day, and there's numerous activations as they're getting ready to leave on June 23rd around 3 p.m. This is Isaiah Chance. We identified that vehicle that he's talking to as an Uber. Ultimately, we were able to determine the defendants Isaiah Chance, Alicia Andrews, and Rashad Murphy traveled from Tampa. That's Davion Murphy there. From Tampa to Jacksonville via an Uber. There's Davion Murphy coming in through the front door. Sean Gaithright walking out the front door. Isaiah Chance at the front door.
Sir, I put State's Exhibit 24 through 28. Are those all still photos that were taken from that Airbnb video?
Correct.
As well as photographs of the suspects in this case?
Correct. You'll have to forgive me. I knocked these loose.
Oh, that's okay. Your Honor, at this time we'd introduce into evidence State's Exhibit 25 through 28.
Any objection?
It is
These are
28, excuse me, it's 27, alleged to be Davion Murphy.
allegedly, these are still photos from the front ring camera. Are you objecting or not?
Is that who he's going to identify?
Yes.
All right, no objection.
Okay, admitted.
Can you tell us 25, what State's Exhibit 25 is?
Exhibit 25 is a photograph from the ring footage of the Airbnb in Tampa of defendant Alicia Andrews as compared to her DHSMV photograph.
Okay. And this is the only photograph that's captured on that ring video footage that occurs prior to the murder on the 23rd, is that correct?
Correct.
And did you review all of the ring video footage from that camera?
Yes.
States Exhibit 26.
This is on the left a still photograph from the ring footage as compared to a booking photograph from Jacksonville of defendant Isaiah Chance.
State Exhibit 27.
This is a still photograph from the ring footage on the left as compared to the DHSMV photograph of Davion Murphy.
State Exhibit 28.
Still photograph of the ring footage from the Airbnb Tampa as compared to a booking photograph of defendant Sean Gaithright.
To show you States Exhibit 29. Did you also, during the course of your investigation, obtain the Cash App records of Isaiah Chance?
Yes.
And are they, what's reflected in States Exhibit 29, is that what you received back from Cash App after you served it with a subpoena?
Correct.
And at this time, we'd introduce into evidence States Exhibit 29.
No objection.
Okay, admitted.
Detective, can you tell us what's in States Exhibit 29?
Yes, so these are the Cash App records of defendant Isaiah Chance's Cash App account, which is titled with the name Mr. Rich Off War. And what we learned from this, these documents were that on 6/22 at 1:45 a.m., so this is a Saturday before the murder, it's actually before they leave Jacksonville to come to Tampa, Mr. Rich Off War receives a transfer amount from the account of J. Breezy. J. Breezy is the rapper name of a gentleman whose real name is Jucario Rivers. He's one of the prominent 1200 gang rappers who also released a song after Foolio's death, mocking his death. Mr. Jucario Rivers, J. Breezy sends Isaiah Chance $390, and then within minutes of the booking, we see that the charge was made for the Airbnb around that amount, $361.16. We see a charge there at the bottom from Airbnb. So although the Airbnb and we sent the subpoena to Airbnb, they confirmed that it was this card that paid for it, the ones the defendant stayed at. So what we were able to determine is although Rashad Murphy booked the Airbnb that the defendant stayed at under his name and his Airbnb account, it was paid for by the Cash App card belonging to defendant Isaiah Chance, and that was provided funds by 1200 rapper Jucario Rivers.
Now, when going back to that Airbnb video, you said that you noticed that some of them were actually picked up by an Uber. Is that correct?
Correct. So what we learned from the videos and the investigation were that the 5 defendants arrived to Tampa in the 2 suspect vehicles. However, they did not leave the same way. 3 of the defendants, Isaiah, Rashad, and Alicia, left in an Uber from the Airbnb in Tampa back to Jacksonville. Defendant Sean Gaithright left in his Impala to his grandmother's house, as we've already covered, and that left only Davion to drive the Silver Cruise back. And I was able to find evidence that Davion, in fact, drove the Silver Cruise back to Jacksonville.
All right, on that note, before we move on to that, let's go ahead and take just a quick 8-minute comfort break, okay? So you don't have to stay on the witness stand. You can or cannot, if whatever you want to do. But since you've not yet been cross-examined, don't talk to anybody about anything related to the case, specifically the prosecutors.
Yes,
okay?
Your Honor.
All right,
Of course.
we'll be back at 4:15. All right.
14 recess.
So in this court hearing with the state laying out that, you know, Foolio died behind this gang beef, right? These diss songs that both sides puts out. Julio's side, 6 Block, and they're saying Yungeen Ace is the leader over there at ATK, right? And they also named the 1200 gang, okay? And they're saying that this is why Foolio is dead, right? And this is why they named ATK in this court hearing, right? In this murder trial. And they're saying that, you know, when Jucario Rivers, a 1200 gang member, rapper, sent these funds from Cash App over to Isaiah Chance, and the state is saying that he is definitely a ATK member. Okay, so this is what the state has, you know, put out there in the court documents, that Isaiah Chance is ATK. So this is what ties, you know, Yungeen Ace's ATK crew into this whole murder trial of Foolio. And as of recently, we know that Yungeen Ace came out and said that ATK is no longer a gang, is no longer no more ATK, no none of that, right? And so maybe this could have been a reason why, you know, Yungeen Ace denounced the ATK gang altogether. So maybe that could be the reason, because he wants to disassociate the ATK name altogether. But it's too late, because the state has already, you know, put out this information, this evidence, saying that, you know, yes, money was sent from a Jucario Rivers, okay, who happens to be a 1200 gang member, and 1200 and ATK, they are, you know, they run together. This is what the state is saying. This is well documented that this is a subset of ATK, right? And they're saying, well, now we put it all together, that, you know, they sent Isaiah Chance this money to pay for that Airbnb, right? While they got ready to go do the drill, the kill on Foolio the next day, which ended Foolio's life in that shooting on his birthday. And speaking of Georgia, Davion Murphy, who was recently captured after 6 months, he also told detectives that he went to Atlanta, right, as he was eluding, right, the police, because he knew that he was wanted in the Foolio murder. Said he went to Atlanta and came back, okay? So this is after he returned back to Jacksonville, right, with the rest of the suspects after the killing. And, you know, he's basically telling us he went to Georgia too. So what did Davion go to Georgia also for while he was on the run for those 6 months? Said he got 6 Airbnbs, about 7 hotels, was bouncing back here and there between different females' houses, and also living in abandoned houses. And Davion told the detectives, you know, he didn't have to go to Mexico, because the easiest way to hide from a white man is in plain sight. Well, how did that work out for you, Davion? Looks like they caught you, bucko. The state laid it all out. That's right. The cell phone data, the GPS coordinates, the locations, the license plate readers, the messages back and forth from these alleged suspects, the killers of Foolio, right? So the odds are really stacked against all of them. And some of these suspects are facing the death penalty, as we're told. So y'all get in the comment section, and y'all let me know what y'all think about this entire ordeal with these new court developments in the court hearing, exposing all the evidence that I think is going to be used in this Julio Foolio murder trial. And on the next episode, we'll go over how the state laid out, and I'll show you in the new episode of the court hearing that, you know, they laid it all out. Like, hey, this is why Julio Foolio is dead. It's behind the ATK and the 6-block beef, okay? And the head of that ATK gang, they're pointing at Yungeen Ace, and how he dropped that Game Over song, okay, right after Foolio's death. You know, Whopper with the Chopper also put out a song with Spinner Benz, a Foolio diss called Foolio's Dead, right after the murder of Charles Jones, aka Julio Foolio. Then the state even pointed out that the Cash App, who was sent by J. Breezy, the rapper out of Jacksonville, Florida, they're saying that he also dropped a diss song after Foolio's death, right? So this is not looking good at all, being that these are the same individuals that are being talked about during the court hearing, and the evidence that they have showing that they were definitely in contact, right? Either with, you know, money being involved for the Airbnb that was sent by J. Breezy to Isaiah Chance to pay for that Airbnb before the murder, okay? Then with one of the alleged shooters, Rashad Murphy, up there in Georgia meeting with Spinner Benz. License plate readers say on 2 different occasions they have these 2 vehicles in tandem traveling the same route. So, you know, with Davion Murphy going out there to Georgia also, after he was on the run. It's not looking too good, you guys. It's looking like the state is saying that, hey, this is how ATK and 1200 is, in on this whole murder of Foolio. And until the next time, this is OG Jucario TV with the latest in rap, hip-hop celebrity, and urban news. You're watching the Rundown Podcast. I appreciate everybody for spinning with me. I appreciate all my subscribers for sliding with your boy every time. And say, man, hey, man, keep hitting that like button, keep hitting that subscribe button, and look, turn on post notification so we can slide whenever I get the drop. You already know what it is, man. It's deeper than Buddha, her, you hear me? And guess what? I'm gone.